Hello, this is Dominic at Century 21. I'm with Debbie Thurston today from Design Help. She's been an interior designer for 30 years now. Hi Debbie, how are you?
Hi Dominic, I'm fine. Thank you very much for having me with you.
No problems. I just wanted to say, obviously you've been an interior designer for 30 years. What would you say you exactly do? Could you elaborate a little bit more on the interior design?
Yeah. My name, as you say, my name's Debbie Thurston. I run a company called Design Help, which is quite unique because we're the only online interior designers, and we give help to people like yourself and anybody that wants to make something really fantastic for their property. We help you to be a great interior designer for your own home. And I have a passion, and my passion is to share my expertise with anybody who wants something very unique and personal. And I'm qualified. I've been, as I say, working for 30 years, and I am very aware of how difficult it is and the complexities and the design side, and also the project management and the professional side. We make it really easy for people to get on with interior design. And it doesn't matter whether you're struggling with planning your space or you're working with some existing items that you've got to incorporate into your original home, or whether you're trying to find a completely new style and you've got a budget to work with, because everybody has budgets. Maybe you're struggling with colors and finishes that look good or are practical. And sometimes all of those things can stack up and start becoming an issue. So Design Help is there specifically to help people help themselves, rather than actually bringing in the very expensive professionals that are there to help you but can cost you money. And sometimes, you know, you might be working with builders, you may be doing it yourself, but most important, you need to be in control of your own project. You should never get to a stage where actually you're asking your builder for a design advice, because they come from a different background, they have a different perspective, and really they need your design in advance so that they can give you a good, accurate price. And that's the very best way of ensuring that you know what you're going to spend and that you're on target. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're decorating, you're refurbishing, you're renovating, perhaps you're doing it yourself. I'm a great DIY enthusiast. Or whether you're working with the builders. There is one rule I have to bring out, and that is the design comes first. If you make it up as you go along, it's a really expensive ride, and things can, I'm afraid, go wrong. So preparation, it's essential, it's key, and it's exciting. Actually, I love the preparation side, and so should you. And it's almost like making a cake. You know, when you're making a cake for a special occasion, you think about the occasion, you think about the people you're making that cake for, you make sure that actually you're getting your ingredients, you've got a recipe, you know what you're going to be doing. And the same goes for interior design. You know, you plan your ideas, you have a concept, you have ideas that you want to use, and then you actually go shopping, you research, you find out the things that are actually going to make your scheme work. And you also look at the time factor. How and when is it going to be done? How long is it going to take to cook? And how are you going to finish it off? You know, the icing on the cake, that decoration, that's putting in your cushions and your curtains and all the pretty bits. And then the finale is sitting in that lovely home when you've actually finished it. So, you know, there is a process, but without that preparation to that cake making process, it will fail. It will sink in the middle. And the same applies to interior design. Now, I know that DIYing makes you feel good, because I do it too, and it can save you money and it makes it personal. But likewise, if you're working with a builder, they will want to give you an accurate price. So as I say, do make sure that you have your design mostly prepared, that you've tested out things so that you know what's going to work. And there is something fantastic to live in a property that you've done something yourself. Perhaps you've had some professional help. It enhances your life and it makes your investment even more worth it. You know, with the new live, work at home lifestyle, the home is becoming even more important to make sure it looks good. And you know, there is a process. People think interior design is just for the wealthy and that actually they just go out and they buy everything. It's not. It's for everybody, and anybody that cares about their home it needs to take interior design very carefully, and you need to take a little bit more care if you've never done anything before. It's really like anything. And if you're working to a budget, and everybody has a budget, you know, even the very wealthy people have budgets. So you need to have some choice when you're buying your colors, but do test out your colors. Don't guess with colors. Even I cannot carry color in my head properly. And, you know, Design Help gives you the confidence. We show you how to test your colors, and that will make you more objective with what you're doing, and you won't lose your heart to something and get disappointed later on. And it will help you visualize, which is often quite a stumbling block, you know, for people who can't see what something's actually going to look like. We can help you with that. In kitchen design, we have CAD, and CAD is fantastic, but actually it's expensive and it's rolled into the price when you're buying a kitchen. But it's not the same when you're designing, you know, something like a living room. Now, I know, Dominic, you had some questions that actually often get asked. So perhaps you'd like to actually let me know what those are.
So I've had people wonder and be quite interested in open plan design and also lighting. So it's more about that. And can you go into a bit more depth about it?
Open plan living is definitely on trend at the moment, and it's got some great assets. I mean, it's really super. I think it's particularly good for your 2-up, 2-down cottage or something with an extension on the back, the smaller properties, because it makes use of dead space like corridors, and it allows family living and entertaining when perhaps, you know, you've got small children, small younger families. It's very, very suitable. And it can work with larger properties, but I have got one reservation, and that is it can alter the proportion of the space, making very low ceilings, very expansive widths, and sometimes some rather obvious bulkheads and beams. So when you plan the space with open plan and it's a larger property, you almost need to think of it in different zones and different areas, as well as open planning it. You need a sort of visual link throughout that space, and that comes actually with the decoratives as well as the actual design, the 3-dimensional design. And there is a difference here. You want to try, if possible, and avoid a sea of white walls. You want to see something that is, you know, you don't want something devoid of color that is very clinical. And what I would suggest is this, that you actually produce a palette of colors, perhaps 4 or 5 colors. Perhaps it's colors that you've got a sofa that's already in red and you've got to incorporate it. Build some colors into that and take a color to feature in each of the different zones, and then lift that color. Perhaps you have a red sofa in one area, but you have red seating pads to the dining chairs. So you're actually incorporating that color and lifting it out of one area and reusing it in another. And I do this all the time. It's making feature colors for the adjoining space. And that allows you to have a flow of style that is developed in each area. And that helps open plan work visually. Something else you ought to do is to think of those zones. You know, you've got your eating, you've got your sitting and watching the television, you've got focal points that are needed or feature elements, and you can use rugs to incorporate seating areas and create them. Open plan bookshelves are very useful. You can have screens, sliding pocket doors, that sort of thing into the walls, because that allows you to do something like create a cozy environment and a private environment, perhaps when you're working from home, rather than everything open. And sometimes you'll find that that's actually referred to as broken plan. So you'll hear broken plan relating to open plan. It's the sort of the new word, if you like, but it does allow you to have more activities going on in one space effectively, and then opening it up when you need it. And don't forget noises and smells, all, you know, invade, if you like. If you're cooking at one end of your kitchen and somebody else is perhaps trying to concentrate on a very important document, you need to try and factor in those elements. And another element is open plan needs to be tidy, because you're completely, you know, your open plan, you're on show all the time. So make sure you build in your storage unit so that you can actually tidy easily. And finally, on open plan, I would say make sure that you don't just stick to hard surfaces and finishes, because it can add to the noise. And curtains did go out of fashion, but they're back in now. So add your rugs, add your soft furnishings, and make sure that actually you soak up some of that noise and give 3-dimensional textural elements to that interior. And lighting is another area. And you mentioned, Dominic, about how you felt people were asking you about lighting. And so we'll just look at a couple of revolutions really in the lighting industry, because it's amazing. I mean, you can have anything you like if you've got the money, but it is expensive. So you've got to make sure whatever you do with lighting, that it works for you. So you need to combine it with thinking through the effect you want to achieve, not just the fittings. Particularly with functional fittings, you need the effectiveness of them rather than actually just looking at rows and rows of downlighters, because actually they're not particularly attractive. You just want to see what they do. And decorative fittings they're very important. That beautiful chandelier should work with the functional fittings as statements. So the functional does the work part of it, and the decorative part gives a statement to the interior design. And we still work with general, accent, and task. There are three elements to interior design. General is a blanket wash of light so that you can actually see what you're doing and see to actually clean, dare I say it. Accent is to accentuate the beauty of your features, your artwork, perhaps a feature wall or something. And task, absolutely essential. You've got to see what you're doing. You need to see to read your book, to read your newspaper. And now, of course, this is combined with something called scene settings. Well, this comes with your remote controls, and it covers lots of different types of lighting. But, you know, in order to do that, you need to have your furniture layouts, because once you know where your layouts are going, then actually you can design your lighting over the top, because the color of the fixtures and the fittings can change your colors in your room. So you need to know what colors you're using as well as the layouts. And, you know, if you're really on budget, lighting can, as I say, be expensive. I would stick to 4 dimmer switches. You can do an amazing thing with 4 switches, 4 circuits simply on dimmers. So, you know, if lighting and open plan are things that people want to know more about, we can certainly help you with design help. And I think this is, you know, it's very, very important aspects of today's interiors.
Lovely, thank you. I feel like we could have probably gone on longer, but I'm conscious of your time, and I hope that everyone that's watched this has taken something from you. I think they have. There's so much in here that I'm sure people want to go back and kind of take little points what you've made. Fantastic. But I just want to say thank you so much for taking some time.
Do come and visit me and see the website, and you'll see an awful lot of things that people will be able to do. So Dominic, thank you very much for inviting me on, and best of luck with everything. I think it's going to be a fantastic season ahead.
Yes, we think so. Now that things are starting to happen again and life's coming back, it's a perfect time, I think, for people to regenerate and look at their home. And obviously I'll have a link below the video as well for anyone who wants to get in touch with Debbie. And thank you very much. And
thank you,
all the
John.
best to everyone.
Thank you very much. Best of luck.
We'll speak soon. Thanks again, Debbie.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.